Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan McDonald, and I am the CEO and founder of Iron Horse Firearms. We are a small arms manufacturer based in Salt Lake City, Utah. Started in 2017. We hit the market in late July of last year with our two patented products, a pump action 12-gauge shotgun and a thumb-operated AR-15 pattern rifle. We've worked hard to address the outlined problems with ground-up design, resulting in two patented weapons platforms. With firearms, safety is paramount. So when we designed our thumb-fired system, we worked on addressing snag fire and negligent discharges, which are more common than people believe. Our designs have changes that help significantly reduce or eliminate the incidence of both problems. Accuracy improvements in our rifle line come from using a thumb-operated trigger. Trigger manipulation and trigger pull is the most difficult shooting principle to master. We eliminate trigger jerk and trigger pull errors from the shooting process with a system that applies pressure directly in line with the center of aim. In addition to the accuracy and safety improvements, the thumb-fired system addresses an unserved market of non-traditional shooters. On average, 61,000 Americans lose their index and middle fingers in industrial accidents every year. Arthritis, cerebral palsy, and other conditions are also accommodated with our design. Both products offer improvements for all end users. Police and military shotguns are exclusively pump action to allow for cycling less than lethal ammunition, but are limited by being tube fed rather than magazine fed. Semi-auto shotguns use largely the same design and tech as pump actions with adapted gas systems from semi-auto rifles that do not work well. This includes AR-12 pattern rifles. With our unique intellectual property, we are poised to grow through government sales, consumer market adoption, and licensing opportunities, which we are currently entertaining. The Century 12 is the world's lightest monolithic pump action shotgun. The Century 12's modularity allows for ultra-fast disassembly, barrel swap, and accessory replacement and configuration. As Recoil Magazine stated, its monolithic upper receiver and high level of modularity offer significant improvements on reliability over predecessors. The accessories are proprietary and high margin, which gives us the ability to create our own ecosystem of products in a closed system with cross-compatibility, think Android versus Apple. The success of our ultra-precise rifles is due to the Iron Horse's patented thumb-operated lever-fired technology, creating the world's most accurate AR pattern rifle. Over the course of two in-house studies and one external study with UNLV's Department of Kinesiology, we have shown significant improvements in the accuracy, shot group size, and reductions in trigger error and learning curve with this platform. Let's talk traction. Launching in late July of 2020, in only 15 months, we have seen rapid market adoption and acceptance for a new company. At nearly 150 brick and mortar dealers, as well as Turner's, Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, and Sportsman's Warehouse, our products are available at over 450 locations nationwide, and soon will be available in Canada. Century 12 shotguns are our top seller, largely driven by availability and familiarity. Our rifles have also seen high growth in big box store adoption, but were impacted heavily by supply chain issues we experienced throughout the pandemic. Accessories are our newest growth area. Reorder rate for customers is high, and we have consistently seen a near profit match in accessory purchases for every firearm sold. Accessory options have lagged behind due to development costs, but have high levels of interest in sell-through. We are in the process of developing multiple accessories for both products. The team is comprised of myself as CEO. I was previously the senior security engineer for Adobe's digital marketing cloud. I spent 9 years in the United States Marine Corps and 10 years in cybersecurity. I hold 2 patents in the firearms industry. Anthony Robertson is our chief technology officer and has a bachelor's degree in business information systems and a passion for growing new businesses. Jimmy Story is our chief revenue officer and has a bachelor's in marketing. A former U.S. Marine private security contractor and firearms trainer, he has 20 years of industry experience and has assisted several brands in go-to-market strategy planning and holds several industry patents. And lastly, Troy Cronin, our president, is an industrial designer. Troy is behind the design of the Century 12 and final design work of the thumb-operated receiver and has 20 years of experience in industrial design, offering design services for companies like Black Diamond, Honeywell, Boeing, and several other companies in the firearms industry. To date, we have raised $1.7 million. We are looking to raise an additional 1.2 that serves primarily 4 main purposes. 1, to finish development of additional products and accessories for both platforms. Increase our market share and market penetration through paid advertising, which we haven't had to do much of to date. Invest in tooling and inventory to reduce cost of goods sold by a large margin. And acquire a few additional key personnel to assist with international growth opportunities and business development, as well as development of our training and business services. Again, we are Iron Horse Firearms. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Hey, thanks, Scott, and thank you, Ryan, for a nice presentation. Really appreciate your time. I thought it was a well done presentation, gave me a good overview of the company and where you are. Um, one of the things I was trying to understand as you were going through the slides was the technology angle, and if there is none, that's okay. But I was trying to get a little deeper into the technology angle here and what you have built and what you are potentially looking to build over time as well with the new fundraising round.
Okay, sure. So for the shotgun, the biggest difference between it and competitors is the upper receiver is made from a single piece of extruded aluminum that's pre-bored. So our profiling and machining time is significantly reduced, and so is our part count. We have about 50% fewer parts in that firearm than our competitors, which for most mechanical things, simplicity equals reliability, and that's very true in firearms. It's also very modular. You can take the whole thing apart with your bare hands. You don't need any tools to remove the barrel or the lower receiver, which makes it a very ideal platform for police and military. You could change from a 18 or 22-inch barrel to a 10-inch barrel in under 30 seconds, which would be great from looking at a crowd control situation where you're using rubber bullets to clearing a house in an active shooter situation. So it's very good for those situations and has a lot of interest there for law enforcement agencies in lots of places. The thumb-fired stuff, the lever-driven trigger sits in the back pocket of the grip on the rifle. And when you are doing a lot of long-range shooting, you find that most of the air that you're passing on from your body, whether that's breath control, heart rate, those kind of things, gets translated into the way that you're manipulating the trigger and introduces a lot of error. Because of the way our trigger engages the mechanism that releases the hammer, you don't see those issues translated over.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Jamie, you got a question?
Thank you.
I do. Hi, Ryan. Quick question for you. I know military and law enforcement have different sort of procurement schedules and processes, but are you or is the company already on DGS and GSA schedules? And if so, which states or which regions? That would be good to know.
So we are registered on SAM and the GSA schedule. We have not done any specific state or local municipality bidding because we haven't really had the resources to support it with the way that our regular retail sales were going last year. One opportunity in that realm that we did that onboarding for was actually for a government contract in Brazil. I'm actually going out the first week of January to do the in-person product demonstration for that. But that was the only reason so far that we've onboarded those services. So that's an area for a lot of expanded growth. We've had requests from law enforcement to do demonstrations and look into product purchasing, but we've been so back ordered that we just haven't really put a lot of effort into it.
Understood. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Asher, you got a question?
Yes, thank you. Ryan, great presentation. I like the disabled angle. It's pretty interesting for a firearm company. As a proud owner of Mossberg Military 10 heat shield, of course. Coming around to disability, one of the other aspects with firearms, of course, is how do you the safety aspect. I have kids at the house and always concerned about how do you prevent accidents and them getting a hold of it and locks and all that kind of stuff. What have you devised any safety kind of other safety precautions that incorporated within your designs?
Yes, so our safety is similar to a shotgun style push safety on the rifle, which is very unique for an AR pattern rifle in general. But the nice thing for us is that for consumer sale, it's just an easier solution to use. It has a very clear indicator of whether the weapon's on fire or safe, red or white. And because of the way that the trigger pocket encases the actual firing mechanism, you have to very intentionally put a digit in there to manipulate it. We also ship everything with a cable lock, specifically for securing the firearm. But for police and military, it's since the safety mechanism is decoupled in the way that we've done it, you could also add a select fire switch that wouldn't have to be modified regardless of what fire setting you're putting it in, but you could still have the weapon on safe, which is also unique.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Asher. I appreciate that. Stephen, you had your hand up for a second. Stephen Levy, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. I'm sort of curious, you know, the gun space has been a tough one for private investors, particularly institutional investors. How do you see yourself overcoming what I think is developed over a fairly long period of time of the fear of guns, and, you know, they're involved in, God forbid, in a crime or, you know, whatever it may be. There's just a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. How are you dealing with that issue?
Well, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, and simply put, we aren't. You know, it has been a very difficult space for funding purposes, right? We were growing at sometimes 100 to 200% month over month, basically through April of this year. Whereas most companies would be able to go out and get inventory financing to fund that growth and help with supply chain logistics and those things. Most of those options are non-existent for us. And I also don't see that climate particularly changing. I think that what we have going for us in the flip side of that is that we don't do any of the unserialized 80% anything. If you buy a gun from us, whether you're a dealer or a customer, we know exactly who that firearm is going to. We will continue to maintain that stance. And if you look at some of the lawsuits that were involved, generally speaking, they tend to involve how the company is marketing, selling, and providing those products. And so we have a lot of very strong policies in that way too. You know, as to how we market these things and how we put those out to the potential customers, and how we control purchasing and shipping to make sure that we don't have those issues of sending guns to the wrong people or running afoul of those things. But ultimately, there's always going to be a little bit of that stigma around this industry because we're not making posters, in my opinion.